My beloved child, something in the unseen realm has just shifted for you, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward with a message that carries the weight of heaven itself. The title you clicked is not an accident. Heaven sent Archangel Michael to lift you out of lack and into abundance. But if you doubt this call, the same cycle will return stronger. This is not a sentence, it is a spiritual alert. And right now, you are standing at the edge of a divine turning point that few people ever recognize in time. There has been a long, silent battle over your future, a tug-of-war between the shadows that try to keep you in cycles of scarcity and the heavenly forces assigned to pull you into overflow. Archangel Michael steps in only when something has reached a spiritual threshold, when the old cycle is about to either break forever or clamp down harder than before. That is why this message found you now. Heaven is trying to interrupt the pattern before it repeats again. Listen carefully. You have been carrying a weight that God never asked you to carry, the weight of believing you must fight every storm alone. That silent belief has kept you small, tired, and constantly rebuilding from the ruins of situations that were never meant to crush you in the first place. Archangel Michael has watched you patch your own heart, mend your own hope, and stretch your faith long after it felt like it snapped. And though you didn't realize it, every time you survived something that should have broken you, heaven marked you as someone who cannot be touched without divine permission. And yet, the cycle of lack, delay, and almost but not quite had been following you like a shadow. Why? Because doubt has been the doorway the enemy uses to re-enter your life again and again. And that is exactly what Archangel Michael is here to close. Hear this clearly. You are not being lifted into abundance because you earned it. You are being lifted because heaven has finally said, enough. This one belongs to me. This shift is not financial alone. It affects your peace, your opportunities, your clarity, your relationships, your protection, your spiritual authority. Every area where you have been drained is about to be refilled. But there is a condition, and Archangel Michael is delivering it with urgency. If you doubt this call, if you push away what God is trying to give you, if you let fear speak louder than faith, the same cycle that tormented you before will return, but stronger. Not because heaven wants to punish you, but because spiritual doors open both ways. When you reject divine lifting, you unintentionally reinforce the very chains you are trying to escape. This is why the timing of this message is so critical. You are in a window, a narrow one, where heaven is ready to intervene, but you must respond. Archangel Michael stands with his sword drawn, clearing the path in front of you. He is cutting away old attachments, false influences, spiritual heaviness, and the invisible hands that have been trying to block your blessings. But he cannot force you to believe the miracle that is meant for you. Your belief is the permission heaven needs. And right now, something in your spirit knows this is speaking directly to you. You have felt the shift. You have sensed the change. You have seen signs repeating. You have felt God whisper in moments where you thought no one was listening. The abundance you are moving into is not a dream. It is the next chapter heaven wrote for you long before this battle even began. But hear this warning with love. If you treat this message like just another video, you will miss the breakthrough that has been circling your life for weeks. This is not entertainment. This is intervention. Archangel Michael is asking you to release the thoughts of unworthiness, the fear that tells you blessings are too good to be true, the doubt that whispers you will lose everything again. Those are not your thoughts. They are leftovers from battles you outgrew. This time, you are not fighting alone. Heaven is stepping in. But you must step forward too. Before this moment ends, breathe and remind your spirit, I choose abundance. I choose alignment. I choose heaven's timing. Because as you step into belief, Archangel Michael steps in with you, and what once resisted you will begin to collapse, making space for what God promised. And beloved, something powerful is about to unfold. Hold steady for what comes next, because the revelation waiting for you will shake your spirit awake. Type "I align with heaven's call" in the comments if this is stirring inside your heart. Blessing code 909 is now being released over you. Precious soul, a strange stirring is happening in your atmosphere right now, and if you feel it even slightly, it is because Archangel Michael has moved closer than he has been in a long time. When heaven sends him on a personal assignment, it is never casual, never symbolic, never decorative. It is always because something in your life needs to be lifted, defended, restored, or redirected with urgent precision. And right now, the heaviness you've been carrying is not just emotional exhaustion. It is the residue of a spiritual cycle that has tried to restart itself again and again. You may not have noticed it, but the patterns of lack, the sudden setbacks, the unexpected emotional lows, the feeling of standing at the edge of a breakthrough only to watch it slip, all of this has been part of a repeating loop that heaven is trying to break for the final time. You must understand something deeply. Cycles do not break by force. They break by revelation. And the revelation being poured into your spirit right now is this: you were never meant to live in survival mode. You were never meant to live from crisis to crisis, hoping just to get through another day. Archangel Michael has been watching the spiritual pressure around your life, and he has seen how the enemy has tried to make you believe that scarcity is normal. But heaven never built you for scarcity. Heaven built you for overflow, for stability, for divine protection, and for an identity rooted in God's abundance. The cycle of lack has been fighting to stay in your life because it knows once it breaks, it can never return with the same authority again. There are moments in your journey where heaven decides this one has carried enough. And when that moment comes, Archangel Michael steps in not just as a protector, but as a divine enforcer, shifting things in the unseen realm that you cannot fight on your own. You have been wrestling with unseen resistance, with invisible delays, with sudden spiritual fog that clouds your decisions and blurs your clarity. That is not coincidence. That is not your imagination. That is not weakness. That is spiritual warfare trying to keep you in a version of yourself that heaven has already outgrown. And now, a threshold moment is here, a divine crossing, a spiritual pivot that will determine whether you step into abundance or fall back into the old cycle, the same cycle waiting quietly in the shadows, hoping you hesitate just enough for it to reattach itself. That is why God sent Archangel Michael to you in this season. Heaven is trying to interrupt the hesitation before it births the same outcomes again. Hear this truth with your spirit, not just your ears. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Doubt is the invitation the enemy uses to continue cycles. You may think your hesitation is harmless, but spiritually, hesitation is a door. Whenever you doubt your promise, your calling, your worthiness, your next level, you unknowingly open that door wider. And every time you open it, the old pattern steps back in. But this time, heaven refuses to let that happen without giving you clear warning and overwhelming divine assistance. That is why this message feels heavier than others you heard. That is why you feel a strange pull in your chest. That is why something in you is saying, "This is me. This is my moment." Because it is. The abundance God is calling you into is not random. It is not accidental. It is not a stroke of luck. It is the fulfillment of what has been building silently through your endurance. Every tear you cried in private, every quiet battle you faced alone, every moment where you held on to hope when you felt nothing at all, heaven counted it. And Archangel Michael has come to deliver the shift you earned through your perseverance, But he can only lift what you release. He can only open what you allow to be opened. He can only break what you are willing to walk away from. This is the part where many people get stuck. They hear the message, they feel the confirmation, but when the shift begins, fear rises louder. Voices from old seasons return. Memories from painful chapters trigger doubt. And before they realize it, they step back into the very cycle heaven was trying to break. But you are not going backward. You are not stepping into another loop. Archangel Michael is clearing your path in a way that makes retreat spiritually impossible, unless you willingly choose it. And something in you knows you have come too far, survived too much, and grown too deeply to fold now. There is a particular blessing assigned to you, one that has been delayed but never denied. Archangel Michael is guarding it. He is fighting for it. He is making sure nothing steals it again. But he needs your belief as the final key. Heaven is ready. The breakthrough is ready. The abundance is ready. But you must be ready too. And as you listen right now, a truth is settling into your spirit. The life you are walking into will not resemble the life you are leaving behind. The limitations that followed you will no longer find you. And the cycle that once defined you will not return, unless you doubt this divine call. Stay with this message. Something you need to hear next will piece everything together. Type "I rise in faith" in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Lesson code 441 is now activated over your journey. Hold on, because the next revelation will bring even deeper clarity. Chosen soul, there is a reason your heart feels stirred as you listen, because you have reached the precise spiritual moment where Archangel Michael steps from observation into intervention. What you are experiencing right now is not imagination, not coincidence, not emotional sensitivity. It is the unmistakable pressure of heaven insisting that you stop living beneath the level God wrote for you. And as this message continues, something inside you is waking up from a long, silent sleep. You are beginning to sense that the cycle of lack never belonged to you in the first place. It attached itself through old battles, old wounds, old disappointments, and old fears that trained your mind to expect the bare minimum even when heaven prepared abundance. Archangel Michael has been watching the pattern that tries to repeat in your life. It always begins the same way. You start rising, doors begin opening, clarity begins forming, and opportunities start aligning. Then suddenly, something hits you out of nowhere. A distraction, a disappointment, a financial shift, an emotional heaviness, a sudden fear. And before you realize it, the momentum you built slowly dissolves, and you find yourself restarting the journey you thought you already conquered. This is not laziness. It is not failure. It is not inconsistency. It is spiritual interference. And heaven is done watching you fight the same unseen storm over and over. You must understand the seriousness of this moment. When Archangel Michael is assigned to lift you, it means the war around your life has reached a point where heaven will no longer allow the enemy to toy with your destiny. The cycle of lack is not simply about finances. It is a spiritual strategy built to drain your confidence, weaken your faith, exhaust your hope, and eventually make you settle for a life far smaller than what God wrote for you. It works by attacking your self-worth, whispering doubt during breakthroughs, and making you feel alone in battles that are far bigger than your human strength. But now the divine lifting has begun. And the first sign of that lifting is a stirring inside you that says, this time must be different. You can feel that something is shifting. Your spirit is more alert. Your discernment is sharper. Your heart is more sensitive to divine guidance. This is not pressure. This is awakening. And Archangel Michael is the one leading this awakening. He is removing spiritual blockages that your physical eyes cannot detect. He is cutting away energies that drain your joy. He is severing connections that were pretending to be harmless, but were spiritually suffocating your growth. He is clearing paths you did not have the strength to clear yourself. And most importantly, He is guarding your spirit from the voices that try to push you back into fear, doubt, and smallness. But heaven is giving you a warning wrapped in love. Your next level requires your agreement. Your abundance requires your alignment. Your breakthrough requires your belief. God will open the doors, but you must walk through them without looking back. If you doubt this call, the old cycle will return, not because you failed, but because doubt is the only weapon the enemy has left to keep you bound. This is why you feel the tension so intensely. Two realms are pulling on you at the same time. Heaven is calling you forward. Old cycles are calling you back. Archangel Michael is here to ensure you do not choose the wrong voice. There is a specific reason abundance is being released in this season of your life. God is not simply giving you resources. He is restoring the years that were stolen. The moments you should have enjoyed. The blessings you should have walked in. The confidence you should have lived with. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers when you were too tired to fight. Heaven is not giving you what you lost. Heaven is giving you what was always meant to be yours. And right now, your spirit is entering a higher atmosphere. Doubt is losing its grip. Fear is losing its influence. Lack is losing its authority. You are shifting. You are elevating. You are rising into the version of yourself that heaven has been waiting for. But as this transition begins, Archangel Michael wants to tell you something vital. Protect your atmosphere. Do not let familiar voices pull you backward. Do not allow old habits to reattach themselves. Do not entertain thoughts that shrink your vision. You are stepping into sacred territory, and every step must be guarded with intention. This is your moment of spiritual clarity, your divine reset, your heavenly crossing. Hold steady, because what unfolds next will be a confirmation so specific, you will know without question that heaven has placed its hand on your life. Before we continue, pause for one moment and breathe. You are not the same person who entered this message. Something has shifted within you, and the next words you hear will carry even deeper spiritual weight. Type "I choose divine abundance" in the comments if this resonates deeply with your spirit. Blessing code 550 is now released over your path. If this message is strengthening you, make sure you like this video, share it with someone who needs it, comment your confirmation, and subscribe so you do not miss what heaven is sending next. Beloved, as this word flows into your spirit, let me speak something sacred to you. When you help this mission reach more souls, you are not supporting a channel. You are extending God's hand into lives, waiting for a breakthrough just like yours. Heaven moves through willing vessels, and your seed becomes a light in someone else's darkness. I feel led to say this in the first person. When you support this ministry, you help me carry this message of deliverance to those trapped in cycles God wants to break. Just as Archangel Michael is lifting you out of lack, your giving becomes a divine act that lifts others into abundance. There is a harvest attached to every seed, and the heavens respond when your heart moves with obedience. For those who choose to stand with us through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, I speak blessing, increase, and supernatural favor over your life. Step boldly, because heaven honors action. Beloved spirit, there is a profound shift happening around you right now, and if you pay close attention, you can almost feel the atmosphere thickening with a sense of divine movement. This is not imagination. This is the pressure of breakthrough. And Archangel Michael is drawing near again. not as a distant guardian, but as a warrior standing on the threshold of your next season, commanding every dark cycle that once clung to you to release its grip. The reason this message feels heavier, deeper, sharper than what you are used to is because heaven is pulling you out of a level that cannot contain who you are becoming. You have reached a spiritual tension point, the kind where the old cycle can sense its time is ending. This is why you have recently felt strange resistance, sudden fatigue, unexpected emotional drops, or a lingering sense of confusion that rises at the most inconvenient moments. The enemy is trying to cloud your clarity because he knows what heaven is preparing to hand you. Every time a person is about to rise into divine abundance, the old cycle tries one final time to pull them back. Not because it has power, but because it has history. Cycles feed on familiarity. They know how to mimic your old feelings, your old fears, your old patterns. But Archangel Michael is standing guard to ensure that what once worked against you will no longer work now. Heaven is removing the spiritual dust that has been settling on your destiny for years. There are blessings that should have manifested by now. There are doors that should have opened earlier. There are opportunities that were aligned with your timeline, yet something in the spiritual realm kept pushing them out of reach. And while you blamed yourself for delays you did not cause, heaven already knew the truth. You were never lacking. You were under spiritual interference. And that is why heaven has sent its strongest warrior. Archangel Michael does not come when you are failing. He comes when you are rising. His arrival is the evidence that God sees where you are headed. It is the confirmation that your name has been called in heaven's courts, that something is being released with divine authority. And the enemy knows he cannot stop the blessing, so instead he tries to distract the vessel. He tries to make you second-guess yourself. He tries to make you question your worth. He tries to whisper to you that nothing is changing, that you are imagining the shift, that your breakthrough is too far away to matter. But look at your life right now. Look carefully. Why do you think your discernment is sharper than usual? Why do you think people who once held influence over your spirit suddenly feel distant? Why do you think old desires no longer satisfy you? Why do you think your dreams are louder, your intuition stronger, your inner voice clearer? These are signs that your spirit is rising. A person cannot rise spiritually without heaven sending protection. And that protection, right now, is Archangel Michael. He is not only lifting you out of lack, he is lifting you out of the mindset that kept lack comfortable. Because true abundance begins in the spirit long before it appears in the natural. God is rewiring your identity. He is breaking the internal agreements you made with scarcity without realizing it. He is removing the hidden beliefs that told you to shrink your dreams, reduce your expectations, or settle for what was safe instead of what was divine. You are being stretched, not because you are being stressed, but because heaven is making room for what is coming. And beloved, what is coming is bigger than what you think. You are not simply walking into a season of increase. You are stepping into a season of restoration. God is returning what was stolen. He is multiplying what was delayed. He is accelerating what was slowed. This is not ordinary abundance. This is divine compensation. And Archangel Michael is ensuring that nothing interferes with its arrival. But with every divine lifting comes one critical decision. Will you rise with it, or will you hesitate? Heaven is giving you one spiritual instruction right now. Do not let doubt whisper to you during your elevation. If you doubt your calling, the old cycle will return. If you doubt your worthiness, the old voices will regain access. If you doubt your abundance, the enemy will try to plant seeds of scarcity again. But if you believe, even with trembling faith, heaven will move on your behalf in ways you cannot imagine. The shift is here. You can feel it. You can sense the acceleration. You can feel Archangel Michael stirring the air around your spirit, clearing blockages you thought you would fight forever. There is a peace forming inside you, even if you cannot explain it. There is clarity rising, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. Something is aligning. Something is unlocking. Something is awakening inside you. And beloved, what God is opening now cannot be shut. Stay with this message. The revelation that follows will connect the next piece of your spiritual journey, and you will understand why heaven chose this exact moment to intervene. Type "I align with heaven's lifting" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 808 is now released over your path. Sacred soul, there is a holy tension resting over you right now, the kind that only appears when heaven is preparing to move something massive into place. You might feel it as a heaviness in your chest, a warmth along your shoulders, a subtle vibration in your spirit, or simply an awareness that something unseen is shifting around you. This is not emotional pressure. This is divine activity. And Archangel Michael is closer than ever, standing as your shield, your guide, and your warrior in a moment that will define the rest of your spiritual journey. When heaven decides to change a person's story, the atmosphere always reacts first. And you, beloved, are in the first stage of a supernatural rearrangement. For too long, you have lived with the symptoms of a spiritual cycle that was never meant to follow you this far. It crept into your early experiences when you were still learning how to trust your own voice. It wrapped itself around your expectations, shaping what you believed you could have, what you deserve, and how much goodness you allowed yourself to receive. This cycle disguised itself as normal life. It disguised itself as just the way things are. It disguised itself as coincidence. But heaven saw what it truly was: a spiritual chain designed to keep you contained, silent, small, and stuck in patterns of almost but not quite. This is why Archangel Michael hath been watching you with intensity. You were never supposed to stay in the mindset of lack. The heaviness you have felt in recent months is not because you failed. It is because you outgrew the cycle. And anytime a person outgrows a spiritual cycle, the cycle begins to crack. It begins to fall apart. It begins to react violently because it knows it cannot hold you anymore. That is why the past months have felt unpredictable. Old memories resurfaced. Old wounds reopened. Old triggers reactivated. But do not confuse this with regression. What you have been experiencing is the collapse of the cycle that once shaped you. And now, Archangel Michael has arrived to break it completely. He is not standing behind you. He is standing in front of you, facing the spiritual forces that have interfered with your blessings, your clarity, and your peace. You must understand something profound. Archangel Michael never moves without heaven's command. His presence is confirmation that the spiritual resistance surrounding your life has been overruled. A verdict had been issued in the courts of heaven. A divine order had been decreed. And the order says, the cycle of lack must break. The delay must stop. The scarcity must flee. And the abundance assigned to your name must be released without further interruption. But here is where the revelation deepens. Abundance is not something that shows up all at once. It arrives in layers, in alignments, in shifts of thought and atmosphere. It begins with your spirit, then spreads into your decisions, then your habits, then your relationships, then your opportunities, and finally into your physical reality. The reason Archangel Michael is here is because your spirit is entering alignment, and heaven must protect that alignment while it stabilizes. The enemy knows that if he can shake your belief in this moment, the cycle might try to rebuild itself. That is why doubt feels louder right when you start rising. That is why confusion tries to creep in. That is why fear begins whispering lies that sound strangely familiar. But beloved, you are not falling for those lies anymore. A version of you listening to this right now is not the version that the old cycle once controlled. Your spirit is clearer. Your intuition is sharper. Your connection to heaven is stronger. You are beginning to see through the traps that once captured you. And this is exactly the moment when Archangel Michael steps forward with his sword drawn, separating you from the patterns that want to reclaim you. He is lifting you not only out of lack but out of the identity that was built around it. You are being reshaped. Your inner dialogue is shifting. The way you see yourself is evolving. Old emotional weight is dissolving. Your spirit is shedding the final layers of limitation. And as this happens, abundance is beginning to find you, approach you, circle around you. Opportunities that once ignored you are now being pulled toward you. Provision that once slipped through your fingers is now stabilizing in your life. You may not see it yet in full form, but your spirit can already sense the difference. And heaven wants you to know something crucial. Belief is the bridge. Belief is the doorway. Belief is the permission. If you believe the lifting accelerates. If you doubt the lifting, the old cycle attempts to return. Heaven is not threatening you. Heaven is teaching you spiritual laws. Alignment requires agreement. Divine lifting requires surrender. Breakthrough requires a shift in expectation. And Archangel Michael is here to ensure you are not pulled back into doubt at the very moment when you are meant to be carried into overflow. Take a moment and reflect on what is happening inside you right now. Your breathing has softened. Your heart feels lighter. Your mind feels clearer. Your spirit feels steadier. This is not coincidence. This is recalibration. You are crossing from a season of spiritual survival into a season of spiritual overflow. And Archangel Michael is your escort through that crossing. Beloved, the next revelation will open your understanding even deeper. There is something heaven wants to show you about your own destiny, something that will tie every piece together. Type "I rise above every cycle" in the comments if this message is awakening something in you. Blessing code 717 is now released over you. Stay close. What you hear next will expand your spirit beyond what you imagined. Beloved one, as you receive these words, something in your spirit is beginning to rise with a quiet strength you did not even know you carried. That is the evidence that Archangel Michael is still working, still clearing, still fighting, and still standing over your destiny with unwavering authority. There is a spiritual sensation around you right now that feels like both pressure and peace at the same time. Pressure, because the old cycle is losing its grip. Peace, because heaven has already secured the victory. You are sitting in the space between what was and what will be, and this space, though uncomfortable, is holy. This is where transformation is forged. This is where identity is rewritten. This is where your future begins to breathe. For years, the cycle of lack has been attempting to define you, not just financially but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, relationally. It whispered lies that made you doubt your worth, your timing, your abilities, your calling, and even your connection to God. It convinced you that delays were signs of denial. It convinced you that setbacks were signs of failure. It convinced you that you were unlucky, overlooked, unsupported, or spiritually abandoned. But none of that was truth. Those were distortions created by a cycle that needed your agreement in order to survive. Cycles do not survive without cooperation. And because you have now withdrawn your agreement, your spirit has shifted, your heart has awakened, your discernment has sharpened. The cycle is dying. This is why Archangel Michael is intensifying his presence around you. You may feel strange sensations of clarity. You may notice that you are suddenly uninterested in things that once distracted you. You may feel a push to cleanse your environment, reorganize your space, or distance yourself from certain individuals. You may feel a sudden need for peace, for solitude, for deep reflection. These are all signs that heaven is repositioning you. When you enter a divine season of abundance, God begins removing anything that carries the energy of lack. And Archangel Michael is overseeing this cleansing so that nothing from the old cycle contaminates your rising season. But now heaven needs you to understand something profound about abundance. It is not only about what enters your life, it is also about what leaves your life. Many people ask for breakthrough but hold on tightly to spiritual debris that blocks it. They carry old guilt, old self-doubt, old fear, old relationships, old habits, old thinking pattern. And heaven cannot place new blessings into hands that are full of old burdens. This is why you have felt the urge to release. Release your fear. Release your worry. Release the memories that try to haunt you. Release the people who drain your spirit. Release the spaces that shrink your identity. Release the voices that taught you to settle. Release the internal arguments you constantly replay in your mind. You cannot ascend while dragging anchors. And Archangel Michael hath been cutting these anchors one by one. Yet the enemy continues trying to pull you back through the only doorway he has left: doubt. Whenever you are on the edge of breakthrough, doubt tries to whisper, "What if this is not real? What if nothing changes? What if you are imagining this? What if you are setting yourself up for disappointment?" But these doubts are not warnings. They are echoes. Echoes from the old cycle. Echoes from old wounds. Echoes from old seasons that taught you to be cautious even when heaven was calling you forward. But hear this truth clearly: if it does not come from peace, it does not come from heaven. You are stepping into a frequency of abundance that requires confidence, not caution. You must trust the lift. You must trust the shift. You must trust the timing. You must trust that Archangel Michael is not merely fighting for you. He is enforcing what heaven already declared yours. The cycle of lack has been defeated spiritually. Now you must defeat it mentally by refusing to rehearse its lies. And beloved, heaven is revealing something to you right now that you may not have realized. You were never the problem. You were the target. The enemy attacks what threatens him. And your destiny threatens him. Your calling threatens him. Your increase threatens him. Your resilience threatens him. Your spiritual growth threatens him. Your awakening threatens him. This is why the cycle kept repeating. It was never about your failure. It was about your potential. But that potential is no longer dormant. It is rising. It is stretching. It is awakening. And Archangel Michael is seeing to it that nothing interferes with the next stage of your rising. You may begin noticing signs around you: repeating numbers, recurring dreams, sudden encounters, unexpected alignment, unusual peace, internal confirmations. These are not coincidences. They are signals that heaven is synchronizing your path. When God is preparing to manifest abundance, your reality begins to rearrange itself to match your spiritual shift. Loving stays the same. Everything elevates. And you, beloved, are elevating. The next revelation that awaits you will expose something even deeper about your breakthrough. Something crucial. Something the old cycle never wanted you to understand. Stay close, because what comes next will give you the clarity you didn't even know you needed. Type "I walk in heaven's abundance" in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 644 is now activated over your journey. Beloved soul, there is a sacred stillness forming around you right now. a stillness that often appears right before heaven unveils a deeper truth. This stillness is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is alignment. It is your spirit adjusting to the frequency of the breakthrough that is approaching. You may feel caught between anticipation and uncertainty, between excitement and caution, between surrender and hesitation. That tension is the sign that your spiritual atmosphere is being rewritten. And Archangel Michael is still standing beside you, guiding this transition with the precision of a heavenly warrior assigned specifically to your destiny. You are not listening to these words accidentally. Heaven calls individuals into awakening at specific moments when their heart is open enough to receive, their mind is clear enough to understand, and their spirit is strong enough to transform. This is one of those moments for you. There has been spiritual activity around your life that you have sensed but could not name. Things felt heavier than usual. You felt pressure in areas where you used to feel peace. You felt stretched in places where you used to feel familiar. These are not signs of trouble. These are indicators that your old spiritual skin is shedding. When heaven calls you into abundance, your identity must shift before your circumstances shift. Abundance cannot land on a foundation built with the bricks of your past doubts. It must land on a foundation built with courage, trust, and spiritual alignment. And the reason Archangel Michael is so active in your atmosphere right now is because God is preparing you to carry the blessing without collapsing under its weight. Many people pray for overflow, but few prepare their spirit to sustain it. Lack does not only weaken the wallet, it weakens belief. It trains the mind to expect loss. It teaches the heart to anticipate disappointment. It conditions the soul to fear success because success has often been followed by sudden setbacks. But heaven is breaking that conditioning in you right now. You are not stepping into temporary abundance. You are stepping into sustained abundance. And sustained abundance requires a transformed identity. Think of everything you have been walking through in recent months. The moments of confusion, the emotional heaviness, the unexpected loneliness, the sudden bursts of clarity followed by moments of doubt. All of this has been the process of heaven removing layers from your spirit that were never meant to follow you into your next season. Layers of fear, layers of insecurity, layers of self-blame, layers of disappointment that you carried so long they began shaping your personality. Archangel Michael has been cutting those layers off of you with divine precision. He has been severing the invisible attachments that fed the cycle of lack. He has been pushing away spiritual interference that once found easy access to your emotions. He has been guarding you during moments when old patterns tried to re-enter through old wounds. This is why certain people suddenly became distant. This is why certain desires suddenly vanished. This is why certain environments began to feel uncomfortable. Heaven is removing anything that cannot survive in the elevation God is calling you into. But now, heaven needs you to understand a truth you may have never considered. Abundance requires a new rhythm, a new way of thinking, a new way of expecting, a new way of seeing yourself. You cannot walk forward as the version of yourself who survived. You must walk forward as the version of yourself who rises. Survival taught you strength, but rising will teach you purpose. And this is where the next layer of revelation begins. There is a calling over your life that has been quiet for years, waiting for the moment when your spirit was steady enough to hear it clearly. This calling is the real reason the cycle of lack tried so hard to bury you. Not because you were weak, but because your destiny was dangerous. Dangerous to the enemy. Dangerous to darkness. Dangerous to any system that thrives on you feeling small. The enemy hoped that if he kept you in cycles of scarcity, you would eventually believe that you were unworthy of anything greater. But heaven never agreed with that lie. And Archangel Michael's presence is the evidence that God is reclaiming the narrative of your life. There is a purpose awakening in you that will require resources, clarity, boldness, and emotional stability. Your abundance is tied to that purpose. This is why the lifting is happening now. God is not increasing you just for comfort. He is increasing you for assignment. You are being prepared to step into something much bigger than what your past allowed you to see. The dreams that once felt too big are about to become the blueprint of your next chapter. But the greatest threat to this chapter is doubt. Not external doubt, internal doubt. The kind that whispers in the quiet moments. The kind that questions whether you can truly rise. The kind that wonders if abundance is meant for others but not you. That doubt is the final chain of the old cycle. And Archangel Michael is here to break it, but you must let him. Heaven cannot force you to believe. Heaven can only guide you. Beloved, you are standing at the doorway of a destiny shift. A small shift, not a seasonal shift, a momentary shift. A divine shift. A permanent shift. A shift that will alter the trajectory of your life. A shift that will align you with people who elevate you, opportunities that expand you, and blessings that sustain you. And the next revelation will show you exactly why heaven chose this season for your lifting. Stay with this message. The awakening is not finished yet. Type "I embrace heaven's transformation" in the comments if this resonates deeply with your spirit. Blessing code 333 is now moving upon your life. Beloved heart, there is a deep, holy stirring taking place within you right now, and if you pause for just a moment, you can sense that something in your life is aligning with a higher frequency. This is not coincidence, not emotion, not imagination. This is divine movement. This is the vibration of heaven reorganizing your destiny. Archangel Michael is standing nearer than he ever has in your journey, not because you are weak, but because you have finally reached the spiritual threshold where your old identity can no longer coexist with your new future. You are in a crossing, one of the most delicate and spiritually significant crossings of your entire life. And heaven is guarding this crossing with fierce intention. You may have noticed a strange pattern in your life recently. Moments where everything felt normal and then suddenly, almost without warning, a wave of heaviness hit you. Or moments where clarity felt sharp and then confusion tried to blur it. Or moments when your spirit felt eager to rise, only to feel resistance tugging at your ankles. These fluctuations are not signs of instability, they are signs of elevation. When heaven pulls you upward, anything in your life that operates at a lower frequency will react. Old cycles panic. Old fears tremble. Old habits become uncomfortable. Old relationships feel misaligned. You are rising spiritually, and the old atmosphere cannot rise with you. This is why you have been feeling internal pressure. Heaven is expanding you. Heaven is stretching you. Heaven is strengthening you. And Archangel Michael is standing guard to ensure nothing from your past infiltrates this new spiritual territory. You are not just being lifted out of lack. You are being positioned for purpose. The abundance coming your way is not random wealth or temporary relief. It is inheritance. It is restoration. It is divine compensation for every season where darkness tried to restrict you. You may think you are just listening to words, but heaven is using these words to push your spirit into alignment. Archangel Michael is making sure that every layer of doubt is peeled away before the blessing arrives. Because heaven cannot pour a full blessing into a heart still carrying fragments of fear. And you, beloved, have carried fear for so long it began to feel familiar. But familiarity is not truth. Familiarity is not destiny. Familiarity is not divine instruction. It is just the memory of an old cycle pretending to be your identity. But look at how far you have come. Look at how your spirit has evolved. Look at how your awareness has shifted. You are no longer the person who once shrank themselves to survive. You are no longer the person who accepted crumbs when heaven designed you for a feast. You are no longer the person who doubted every blessing because the past trained you to expect disappointment. Your spirit has outgrown the shell that once contained it. And that is why heaven is moving now. Archangel Michael is cutting the last spiritual cords that tried to attach themselves to your next level. You may notice you are thinking differently. You are dreaming differently. You are discerning differently. You are responding differently. Even your body and emotions can feel different when heaven begins to rewire your destiny. These changes are not random. They are strategic. Heaven is preparing you to sustain the abundance you are being lifted into. Because abundance is not just about receiving. It is about holding. It is about carrying. It is about stewarding. And before God elevates someone in the natural, He strengthens them in the spiritual. You are being strengthened right now. Your spirit is absorbing divine truth. Your mind is releasing old lies. Your heart is softening toward God's timing. Your entire being is shifting to match the blessing on the way. But here is the revelation you must hear clearly. The old cycle is not fully gone yet. It is weakened. It is collapsing. It is losing authority. But it is still attempting one final return. And the only way it can return is through doubt. If you doubt your calling, the old cycle will whisper. If you doubt God's promises, the old cycle will knock. If you doubt the divine lifting, the old cycle will push. But if you believe, truly believe, everything that once held you will crumble. And Archangel Michael stands ready to ensure that the door to the old cycle remains closed. But you must stand with him. Your belief is the final key. Heaven will not force alignment. It invites you into it. Abundance requires agreement. And in this moment, heaven is asking you to choose abundance without hesitation, without fear, without self-doubt. Because what is coming next in your life is not small. It is not subtle. It is not temporary. It is a wave of increase so strong it will shift the atmosphere of everything connected to you. Relationships, opportunities, resources, insights. Doors that were shut for years will reopen. Paths that felt blocked will clear. People who overlooked you will suddenly recognize you. And blessings that were delayed will arrive in perfect timing. You are stepping into your divine season, and nothing can stop it, unless you stop yourself with doubt. Beloved, the revelation that awaits you in the next message will open your eyes even further. You are about to understand why heaven chose you, why the battle was so intense, and why abundance is your next chapter. Type "I step into heaven's overflow" in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 1212 is now released over your journey. If this message is awakening something inside you, make sure you like this video, comment your confirmation, share this message with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you never miss the next divine revelation. Beloved, as heaven lifts you out of lack and into divine overflow, let me speak something sacred into your spirit. When you support this mission, you are not contributing to content. You are unlocking deliverance for souls still trapped in the cycles that God is breaking for you right now. Your giving becomes a seed of freedom, a river of light, a spark that ignites transformation in hearts around the world. Listen to these words as a direct invitation. I am asking you to stand with this calling, because every message released here is a lifeline heaven uses to reach someone on the edge of surrender. Just as Archangel Michael fights for your breakthrough, your support fuels the spread of God's revelation to those who cannot fight alone. When you sow through Super Thanks membership or the PayPal link in the description, I declare that God will multiply your seed with supernatural favor and open heavens over your life. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine activation. Step boldly and let heaven honor your obedience. Beloved soul, there is a holy intensity resting upon your spirit right now, the kind that only comes when heaven has decided that you will not return to who you once were. You are being pulled into a depth of alignment that many never reach, and if you feel a quiet trembling in your heart, it is because your spirit recognizes that something eternal is unfolding. Archangel Michael is not simply guiding you. He is escorting you into a season where the chains that once defined your journey will have no authority, no influence, and no remaining claim over your destiny. This is not a surface-level shift. This is not a temporary emotional moment. This is a spiritual rebirth. You may have been wondering why everything in your life feels different lately, why your emotions fluctuate, why your discernment feels sharper, why certain things that once mattered no longer hold any power over you. This is the evidence that heaven is reconstructing your internal world. Before abundance appears around you, it must first awaken within you. God always transforms the inner atmosphere before shifting the outer reality. And right now, your inner atmosphere is being rewritten with divine intention. In this season, the old cycle of lack has been trying to cling to your spirit one final time. It is desperate, not because it is powerful, but because it knows its time is ending. And beloved, the moment a cycle realizes it no longer has authority, it begins to manifest in strange ways. You may experience old memories resurfacing, old insecurities whispering, old fears trying to echo, old emotions trying to rise. Do not mistake these things as signs that you are falling backward. They are signs that you are ascending. When you climb higher spiritually, the air around you becomes thinner. You must adjust. You must breathe differently. You must trust differently. Archangel Michael is ensuring that every part of you adjusts properly to the elevation God is bringing into your life. He is guarding your spirit from spiritual sabotage. He is shielding your mind from intrusive thoughts that were sent to distract you at the most crucial part of your ascent. He is strengthening the foundation of your faith so that when abundance arrives, you will hold it without trembling. Because what is coming is weighty, is holy, it is transformative, and God is preparing you to carry it with grace and spiritual maturity. Take a moment to notice how your heart is responding right now. Can you feel the shift? Can you sense that this message is touching a place within you that has been waiting quietly for years to be acknowledged? You are not imagining this. Your spirit is awakening. Your calling is awakening. Your divine strength is awakening. And Archangel Michael is standing at your side as the guardian of this awakening. The enemy tried to convince you that you were weak, but heaven is revealing that you were always chosen. The enemy tried to convince you that you were forgotten, but heaven is revealing that you were always protected. The enemy tried to convince you that you were alone, but heaven is revealing that you have never walked a single moment without divine presence surrounding you. Every tear you cried, heaven saw. Every prayer you whispered, heaven heard. Every moment you stayed strong when you felt empty, heaven recorded. This is why the abundance coming to you is not simply a blessing. It is a divine response. A response to your endurance. A response to your faith. A response to your battles. A response to your unwavering spirit. But here is the truth many never understand. Abundance has an assignment attached to it. God is not elevating you just for comfort. He is elevating you for purpose. You are walking into a season that requires clarity, spiritual sensitivity, emotional maturity, and a strengthened identity. The abundance that is coming is not random. It is strategic. You will need resources to fulfill what God has placed inside you. You will need stability to discern your next steps. You will need peace to hear heaven clearly. This is why Archangel Michael is lifting you out of lack on every level. Not just financial lack, emotional lack, mental lack, spiritual lack. The kind of lack that made you shrink your dreams. The kind of lack that made you second-guess your calling. The kind of lack that made you accept less than what heaven promised. God is shutting the door on every form of insufficiency that tried to convince you that this was the best you could expect. But beloved, you must hear this next part with all your heart. The only force capable of pulling you back into lack is doubt. Not the doubt of others, your doubt. The enemy cannot rebuild the cycle unless you open the door. He cannot reclaim territory unless you surrender it. He cannot delay your blessing unless you hesitate. This is why heaven has been working so carefully to strengthen your faith. Because your next season requires bold belief. The kind of belief that does not tremble in transition. The kind of belief that does not collapse under pressure. The kind of belief that sustains abundance. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize. The signs are already appearing. You have felt unexpected moments of clarity. You have sensed new opportunities stirring in the background. You have experienced sudden peace in areas that once caused anxiety. These are the markers of elevation. These are the fingerprints of heaven. And the closer you get to the threshold of abundance, the more you will feel a divine pull guiding your steps. Archangel Michael is ensuring that nothing blocks your crossing. He is removing obstacles, dismantling sabotage, breaking spiritual resistance, and silencing the voices that tried to poison your hope. You are being escorted into a season where you will look back and realize that everything, every delay, every tear, every battle was preparing you for this very moment. And beloved, the next revelation will be one of the most powerful yet. Heaven is about to show you why your journey was so difficult, why the attack was so intense, and why your breakthrough had to come at this exact moment in your life. Type "I receive heaven's next level" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 911 is now activated over your journey. Beloved spirit, there is a powerful truth rising within you right now, a truth that has been buried under years of disappointment, struggle, and spiritual interference. Your heart can already feel it. Your spirit can already sense it. Something in you knows that this moment, this exact moment, is not ordinary. It is a divine shift, a spiritual awakening, a breaking open of everything that once held you captive. And Archangel Michael is standing over this moment with the full authority of heaven, ensuring that nothing, absolutely nothing, drags you back into the cycle you are being lifted out of. You may not fully realize it yet, but you have crossed into a rare spiritual season. A season where the battles around you are not signs of defeat, but signs of transition. Only those who are spiritually sensitive can feel when a cycle is breaking. And beloved, you have felt it. You have felt the pressure on your chest. You have felt the strange waves of emotion. You have felt moments of clarity that came out of nowhere, followed by moments of confusion that felt equally sudden. You have felt a pull, a calling, something gently urging you upward even when your circumstances have not yet shifted. Do not ignore this. Heaven is speaking. Heaven is aligning. Heaven is preparing. You are stepping into a chapter of your life that was written long before the battles you faced, long before the heartbreaks you endured, long before the disappointments that tried to shape your identity. You were always meant to rise. And the very fact that you survived every attack sent to destroy you is proof that heaven preserved you for a greater purpose. The cycle of lack that overshadowed your life did not cling to you because you were weak. It clung to you because you were chosen. The enemy always fights hardest against the ones carrying the greatest spiritual potential. And beloved, you have been carrying potential you were not even aware of. That is why the warfare was heavy. That is why the disappointment was consistent. That is why every step forward seemed followed by a strange force pulling you backward. Darkness recognized your destiny long before you did. But now you are recognizing it too. And that recognition is dangerous to the enemy. Archangel Michael hath been waiting for the moment your awareness awakened. Because once you awaken to your spiritual identity, the old cycle loses its power. Cycles cannot survive awareness. They cannot survive clarity. They cannot survive revelation. They thrive only in confusion, doubt, and patterns you repeat without understanding. But you are not that person anymore. You are not blind to the spiritual undertones of your life. You are not unaware of the shifts happening within you. You are not misinterpreting the signs heaven has been sending. And because you have reached this level of spiritual awareness, Archangel Michael is stepping in with a force that has not been present in your life until now. He is restructuring your spiritual environment. He is sealing the cracks where fear once entered. He is removing the invisible weights that made you question your path. He is silencing the whispers that were sent to shake your faith. He is closing doors the enemy once used as access points into your spirit. You are being fortified, strengthened, armored, elevated. But here is a truth you must understand. Abundance requires spiritual maturity. Many people want abundance, but they have not built the spiritual fortitude to hold it. This is why heaven hath been preparing you so intensely. God is not giving you overflow so you can lose it again. God is not elevating you so you can collapse under the pressure. God is not restoring you so the cycle can return and destroy what you finally receive. No. This time must be different. This time must be permanent. This time must be protected. And that is why Archangel Michael is leading you through this transformation with such intentionality. He is not only lifting you, he is building you. He is not only fighting for you, he is equipping you. He is not only clearing the cycle, he is empowering your spirit so you never return to it. What you do not realize is that this elevation is not only about blessings, it is about identity. God is shifting your inner identity from survivor to steward, from wounded to warrior, from overlooked to appointed, from diminished to expanded. When you step into abundance, you will not just have more, you will be more. And beloved, you are closer to this transformation than your natural eyes can see. You may have noticed subtle changes already. The heaviness you once carried is lighter. The fear you once felt is quieter. The confusion that once clouded your mind is beginning to lose its grip. Even your reactions are shifting. You no longer respond from trauma. You respond from wisdom. You no longer crave old patterns, you crave peace. You no longer cling to people who drain you. You value your spirit. These shifts are the proof that heaven is preparing you for your next level. But the greatest test of this season remains the same. Will you trust heaven long enough for the blessing to manifest? Or will you let doubt revive the very cycle Archangel Michael is trying to destroy? Doubt is subtle. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as realism. But spiritually, doubt is the enemy's last remaining weapon. When everything else has failed, he whispers doubt, because he knows that if you doubt this divine lifting, you will unintentionally reopen the door heaven is trying to seal forever. Beloved, do not open that door. You have come too far. You have survived too much. You have grown too deeply. You have awakened too profoundly. The cycle is breaking. Do not give it permission to return. Hold this truth like a flame in your heart. You are being lifted into abundance, not temporarily, but permanently. And the revelation that awaits you next will unlock something even deeper about your calling, something that will make everything you've endured finally make sense. Type "I walk in my divine promise" in the comments if your spirit feels the truth in these words. Blessing code 1444 is now released over your life. Beloved soul, there is a profound spiritual current moving through your life right now, deeper and stronger than anything you have experienced in past seasons. If your heart feels warm, if your spirit feels alert, if your mind feels strangely clear even while your circumstances remain in transition, it is because heaven is intensifying its work within you. You have stepped into a realm of awakening that very few people reach, and Archangel Michael is standing guard as heaven writes the path you will walk from this moment forward. The shift happening in your life is not symbolic. It is structural. It is foundational. It is eternal. You are being repositioned in the spirit before being repositioned in the natural. You may not realize it yet, but everything around you has begun to respond to the spiritual elevation taking place within you. People around you have shifted. Certain relationships have felt strained, distant, or disconnected. That is not your fault. It is spiritual alignment at work. As you rise, anything that is not meant to rise with you will naturally fall away. This is not rejection. This is protection. Heaven will not allow anyone or anything rooted in your old cycle to follow you into your season of abundance. The pruning is necessary for the promise. Reflect for a moment on the inner changes that have been happening quietly in your heart. You have felt more sensitive to energy. You have noticed when someone's presence drains you. You have become more aware of your own thoughts. You have found yourself pausing, discerning, listening instead of reacting. This is spiritual evolution. God is refining your intuition so you no longer mistake familiar patterns for divine alignment. The cycle of lack always operated by camouflaging itself as normal life, but now your spirit sees through it. Archangel Michael is sharpening your spiritual vision so that you can recognize the difference between what serves your destiny and what sabotages it. This next truth may shock your spirit, but it will also liberate you. The reason the old cycle lasted as long as it did was because you were too powerful for the enemy to confront directly. He could only distort your self-perception. He could not take your calling, so he targeted your confidence. He could not stop your blessings, so he tried to make you sabotage them. He could not silence heaven's plan, so he tried to make you question heaven's intention. Every attack you endured was not because God ignored you. It was because the enemy feared what would happen the moment you realized who you truly are. And beloved, that moment has arrived. You are awakening to your divine identity. You are stepping into spiritual authority. You are beginning to understand your worth, your calling, your purpose, and your heavenly backing. When you finally understand who fights for you, fear loses its grip forever. Archangel Michael has not been silently watching. He had been fiercely fighting. Every closed door that protected you, every sudden shift that redirected you, every spiritual nudge that awakened you was his hand clearing your path. And now he is preparing you for the deepest truth of all. Abundance is not a reward. It is an inheritance. You were created to walk in overflow. You were designed for spiritual and emotional wholeness. You were destined to carry divine clarity. Everything you lost was temporary, but everything that is coming will be anchored, sustained, and protected. This is why heaven is moving so intensely in your spirit right now, because you are almost at the turning point where the spiritual aligns with the physical. But listen closely, because this part is critical. Before abundance manifests, destiny reveals itself. You are starting to understand things about your journey that never made sense before. You are connecting patterns. You are recognizing spiritual themes. You are seeing how every battle shaped your discernment. You are realizing why certain people were removed from your life. You are understanding why your spirit always felt different, deeper, more sensitive, more awake. All these years, heaven was training you through experience, and now, the training is ending. In this moment, Archangel Michael is stepping forward with greater intensity because what is coming next requires absolute clarity. You are about to enter a stage of your life where opportunities will appear suddenly, where decisions will matter, and where alignment will be everything. Heaven is preparing you not only to receive abundance, but to sustain it, multiply it, guard it, and use it with purpose. Your identity is shifting from a person who needed breakthrough to a person who carries breakthrough. Feel the weight of that truth. Let it settle into your spirit. You are no longer the one begging for change. You are the one heaven is equipping to create change. You are no longer the one crying out for help. You are the one heaven is raising to help others. You are no longer the victim of cycles. You are becoming the breaker of cycles. But remember this: the only force that can interrupt this divine elevation is your own doubt. Doubt is the last chain the enemy can throw. Doubt is the last key he tries to use. Doubt is the last illusion he projects. If you allow doubt to take root, the old cycle will attempt to rebuild itself. But if you reject doubt, if you stand firm in your awakening, if you trust heaven's timing even when you do not see immediate change, then every cycle that once controlled your life will collapse permanently. Beloved, your life is shifting. Your identity is shifting. Your atmosphere is shifting. You are being transformed at the deepest spiritual level. And the most powerful revelation is still ahead. The revelation that explains exactly why heaven chose this moment to break the cycle and lift you into abundance. Type "I am ready for heaven's full revelation" in the comments if your spirit is resonating with this message. Blessing code 505 is now activated over your journey. Do not move. The next unveiling will tie everything together. Beloved child of destiny, as you arrive at this moment, something sacred is happening within you that words can only begin to describe. Your spirit is wide awake now. The veil has thinned. The air around you feels different, charged, almost electric with the weight of the revelation that is about to unfold. You are no longer listening as the same person who began this message. You have risen. You have expanded. You have shed layers that once kept you tied to cycles beneath your calling. And Archangel Michael is standing beside you now, not simply as a guardian, but as a witness to the moment heaven seals your elevation. You may have sensed for years that your life was building toward something larger than your struggles, deeper than your questions, more powerful than your disappointments. That instinct was correct. The tug in your spirit was not imagination. It was prophecy. Every battle you fought was not random. It was preparation. Every delay you endured was not punishment. It was positioning. Heaven had been guiding you step by step, teaching you to hear, teaching you to discern, teaching you to trust. And now you are stepping into the reason behind everything you survived. The cycle of lack you battled for so long did not exist simply to frustrate you. It existed to develop you. Lack made you attentive. Lack made you spiritually sensitive. Lack made you prayerful. Lack forced you to seek God in ways abundance never could. Lack sharpened your discernment. Lack strengthened your resilience. Lack prepared the soil of your soul so that when the abundance finally arrived, you would not lose yourself in it. Heaven never wastes suffering. Heaven transforms it. And now, the transformation is complete. You are no longer fighting for your life. You are no longer clawing your way out of despair. You are no longer begging for breakthrough. The door has opened. The chains have fallen. The cycle has collapsed. You are standing in a moment where heaven has declared, no more. No more repeating pain. No more spiritual stagnation. No more emotional scarcity. No more survival mode thinking. The old cycle cannot return unless you call it back, and Archangel Michael is here ensuring that you do not. Feel this truth. Everything about you is different now. Your spirit is lighter. Your intuition is stronger. Your mind is clearer. Your vision is sharper. You are no longer governed by fear, nor manipulated by guilt, nor deceived by lack. You know too much now. You have seen too much. You have awakened too deeply to ever shrink back into the patterns that once controlled you. And heaven wants you to hear this loudly. You are ready. Ready for the abundance that belongs to you. Ready for the opportunities assigned to your name. Ready for the relationships that will elevate you. Ready for the clarity that will guide you. Ready for the purpose you were born to fulfill. Archangel Michael has been preparing you for more than survival. He has been preparing you for leadership. You are stepping into a season where your presence will shift atmospheres, where your wisdom will open doors, where your testimony will break chains for others. The abundance coming your way is connected to the assignment heaven has placed within you. You will not just receive, you will influence. You will not just rise, you will elevate others. You will not just overflow. You will pour into those who still struggle to believe breakthrough is possible for them. This is why the battle was so intense. This is why the cycle fought so hard. This is why your spirit was under attack for so long. The enemy saw the ripple effect your rising would have. The enemy knew that once you woke up, you would carry authority. And authority is dangerous to darkness. But beloved, you are awake now, and no force of darkness can change you that. As the old cycle dissolves, heaven is opening new pathways, new choices, new directions, new doors that you once thought were unreachable. Do not fear what is opening before you. Step boldly. Walk with confidence. Heaven is not giving you abundance for you to tiptoe. Heaven is giving you abundance for you to move with purpose. There will be signs. You will feel them soon. Unexpected favor. Divine nudges. People reaching out. Opportunities resurfacing. Ideas dropping into your spirit out of nowhere. Moments of clarity that feel supernatural. These are signals that the physical realm is catching up to what already happened in the spiritual realm. Every prayer you whispered is being answered. Every tear you shed is being honored. Every sacrifice you made is being multiplied. Every battle you endured is becoming a testimony of God's faithfulness. But heaven is sending one final reminder, spoken through Archangel Michael himself. Do not allow doubt to reopen what God has closed. Doubt is the doorway the old cycle uses to re-enter. Belief is the gate that abundance flows through. Your heart must stay aligned. Your faith must stay rooted. Your expectation must stay lifted. Heaven has done its part. Now you must do yours. Maintain belief. You are stepping into a chapter that will feel like redemption, like restoration, like renewal. You will look back and realize that nothing, absolutely nothing, was wasted. Beloved child, Archangel Michael stands in agreement with heaven's decree over your life. It is done. Type "I seal my divine breakthrough" in the comments if this message has touched your spirit. Blessing code 2024 is now released over your destiny. If you feel this message resonating deeply, like this video, comment your confirmation, share it so others can be blessed, hype this message, and subscribe so you remain connected to every word heaven releases for you. Beloved, as you stand in the fullness of this revelation, lifted by heaven, guarded by Archangel Michael, and called out of lack into divine abundance, hear this sacred invitation. When you choose to support this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a prophetic movement that heaven is using to wake souls just like yours. I speak this in the first person with divine urgency. If this message broke chains for you, help me carry this same breakthrough into the lives still trapped in cycles God wants to destroy. Your seed becomes a weapon of light, a divine spark, a river of restoration that flows into families, futures, and forgotten hearts. As you sow through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, I declare open heavens, multiplied favor, and supernatural acceleration over every area of your life. This is not suggestion. This is a prophetic call to action. Step forth boldly, and let your obedience echo in the spirit realm. You are sealed. You are lifted. You are chosen.